the living geeks.
This is Chie Satanaka, and you're listening to the Giant Sword Podcast. You better eat more meat.
Hello and welcome to this week's Giant Sword Podcast. I'm your party leader, Nick Lynn. To my side are my noble and Harriar, Connor White.
What's up?
And Taylor Hoyt.
Happy to be here.
Are you really happy to be here?
I'm dang excited.
You don't look that happy right now.
Debatable. I'm so excited. You have no idea.
Look at that tone. It's been a while. We've played a lot of games. A lot of you guys actually have finished games. That's pretty awesome. But there is a big game coming out that's not Final Fantasy that everyone is excited about. Pokemon Sun and Moon.
Jumping right in. Yeah, definitely, man. And the hype is definitely growing. I've seen people actually talking about it on Facebook. I mean, when I do choose to enter the toxic echo chamber that is Facebook in the past week. But yeah, I guess that's even more impressive that I've managed to see it on Facebook given everything that's happened in the past 7 days.
The hype is palpable.
Yeah, well, it's interesting because I remember a long time ago when people were talking about how will this game do in the wake of Pokemon Go, and people were like, oh, it's gonna be worse, and everything I've read is the pre-orders are way up. It's the most pre-ordered Pokemon game ever and stuff like that. So
yeah, I remember you had a tweet where you were like, wow, all the people who said Pokemon Go wouldn't affect Pokemon Sun and Moon sales are going to be totally wrong. And my response is dude, who said that? What are you talking about?
I don't want to name names, but there's a couple prominent podcasts that said that exact thing.
It's the gunshot soundbite. I'm getting ready to fire some shots.
They're like, no, I think it's gonna be the total opposite, and I'm like, you're so wrong.
Why? I mean, I'm not gonna get into this, but why would that be the case?
I think their thinking was, I'm
sure they laid out a reason, but
I think the general reasoning was, they're playing Pokemon Go. Why would they play something more hardcore? But I think
everyone plays Pokemon Go and then they get bored of it, and then they're like, man, I could use some actual Pokemon action. It just whets their appetite because it's not a real game, and people even if they're only somewhat initiated into gaming, they probably beat Pokemon Red or Blue or Yellow or whatever back in the day, and so it's Pokemon Go I think kind of just unlocks that old school yearning for it, and then it's those people are oh man, I'll give that another spin. When's the next one coming out? Oh, this month? All right, pre-ordered, zing.
Exactly, yeah. Well, and here's the thing too, I don't know if you guys, I think Connor has seen it, I don't know if Nick has. Somebody made this really well-made fan trailer for Pokemon
I saw
Sun and Moon, where it's this little kid and he's playing in his room, he's playing with the Pokemon trading cards, and then he blinks his eyes.
Fan made?
Yeah, that wasn't real.
Holy crap.
Isn't that great? Wasn't that great?
Yeah.
And then he blinks his eyes and he's adult and he's got all these responsibilities, and then he walks by a game store and he sees Pokemon in the window, and it says, "You've evolved, so have we," and then it just says Pokemon Sun and Moon. I'm like, that's so good.
Yeah,
that's such a great.
That's
little
such
trailer.
Next level pandering.
Oh yeah,
transcendent level pandering.
I'm sure it got people to pre-order the game though, because it fooled me. I mean, when I first saw it, I'm like, wow, that's a good on you, Nintendo. That's a great trailer.
Yeah, because I kind of thought the same thing. I was like, well, that was kind of unorthodox, but whatever. Yeah. Tapping into the old feels central.
Totally. I really liked Pokemon X and Y. Well, I played X, and I had a lot of fun with it because I hadn't played a Pokemon since Red and Blue, which is really crazy.
That is crazy to me.
Yeah.
I can't believe... I mean, I believe it, but it's just...
I haven't beaten a Pokemon since Red and Blue. I've dabbled in a couple of them.
I'm surprised to say that I'm the guy who's, I think, beaten all of the versions except for White and Black too.
Yeah, you got really into it. I remember a couple years ago.
Yeah, there was a stretch where
it all started on this tour I went on 4 years ago. It was a month long, so just these super epic long drives, and then at this one
cool retro gaming store we found in Illinois. I pronounce the S, Illinois. Mm-hmm. I found I found a DS and a copy of Pearl and Pearl whatever Diamond strategy guide for a really cheap bundle deal, and I just played it on the rest of the tour, and that it was just over from there. I was like, wow, these are really great, because it's just the same as the old ones, except they've just updated it and kept the core elements. So it's I'm not breaking any news here, but it just grabbed me because it's the same allure as before, but just evolved.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah, no, I and that's kind of
Never mind.
well, that's kind of what I like about Pokemon, because it's like it scratches that JRPG itch in like the most simplest of ways. It's not like, oh, I gotta get invested in this really deep, crazy story, and I like those every once in a while. But with Pokemon, it's just like, let's just get in there, let's catch some Pokemon, fight some gym leaders, and just nice little simple fun journey. You know what I mean?
And it's funny because sometimes like my real life instincts like start to come out when I'm like in their little dream world, and like some like member of like team douchebag or whatever is like the enemy for this installment is like, I can't beat this one battle, even though that's probably never gonna happen.
Yeah,
I'm just like, why can't I just walk up to this guy and punch him in the fucking face? It's like, why do we battle these goddamn stupid animals that we keep in these spheres? It's
right,
so fucking stupid.
It's kind of a weird concept when you think about it. It's like, no, we got a Pokemon fight.
Yeah.
Nope.
And then my Litten levels up, and I'm stoked again, and whistling the cheery background music.
Mm-hmm. So speaking of that, is that going to be your starter for Sun and Moon? Should you decide to play it?
Well, it's clearly the starter that smokes the most weed.
Yeah,
but it's Litten. Oh, someone had to say it. I guess 1,000 people probably already have. But I'm always generally for fire Pokemon, unless the other ones are cooler. And you guys know I'm a big feline guy. Love cats.
Oh yeah.
Love basically cats all varieties, and so that's an easy choice for me.
Yeah, normally I always go with whatever the water Pokemon is. I went with Froakie and X and Y, but Popplio is just stupid. It's like this dumb seal with this giant like purple nose, and I'm like, I can't get down with this.
But you get it, is he's like balancing the thing on his nose, like,
well, I get it. He's supposed to be like a circus seal or something.
So sick, dude.
But
So
Rowlet is a little leaf owl with a little leaf tie.
You think that's just the most adorable thing you've ever
I'm
seen?
like, that's cute. I'm going to pick that thing. And then it's probably going to turn into some like ferocious like hawk that has like branches for wings or something weird. I don't know.
Well, I'm the guy, I don't want the cute one. I want the one that looks like it's going to rip your freaking head off.
Well, I'm sure once it evolves, it's going to be like a tiger with like a fire mane or something crazy.
See, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
What's going to happen is that the seal is going to be like this badass walrus at the end. We just don't even know.
I haven't seen their final evolutions. I know that those images are out there, but I haven't even really paid attention to anything.
Badass walrus? That was your gamer tag, wasn't it?
That wouldn't be a bad one.
That was a bit of a reach.
So I'm taking Taylor's excited, but Connor, are you excited?
Yeah, man, I'm really excited. I'm one of those people where like I can't plan out anything in my life past like 15 minutes from right now. I can't rule anything out. I might be on Jupiter by next Monday. I don't know. But
that would be really surprising.
Yeah,
that'd be really fast.
That would be quite a turn of events. But yeah, I'll definitely be buying it. It might not be right at launch, but I will do my best to. Obviously, the proximity with FF15 is difficulty. We could discuss that real quick.
Yeah, that's going to be tough to balance because it comes out. I don't know exactly when Pokemon comes out. I want to say it's like the 20th or the 18th or something like that. People are probably going to tell us we're wrong in the comments, but and then Final Fantasy 15 comes out like a week and a half, 2 weeks later. It's like, all right, well. Balance two giant JRPGs at the same time. That'll be fun.
Like November is like the Conor McGregor versus Eddie Alvarez of gaming. It's just swift haymaker after swift haymaker swiftly to the temple. But of course, though, in this context, that's a good thing.
Yeah, we'll definitely be full of games to play for the rest of the year. That's for darn sure.
Yeah,
and somehow I don't know how it's going to happen, but I want to somehow try to fit in The Last Guardian in there.
I don't think The Last Guardian's going to be that long.
I don't think so either. I think
you'll be able to beat it.
I think that's like a 10-hour game maybe. So, we'll see.
It's going to be awesome, though.
Yeah.
Haven't we been waiting for that game to come out for like 100 years?
Yeah,
two of these games we've been waiting for.
I mean, wouldn't like logic follow that like then it would supposed to be like a long game or something?
I think so. I think, right. You'd think, we're working on this game for like 8 years, so it's going to be like a 20-hour epic.
Or like every single minute of those 10 hours has to be like a friggin' emotional odyssey or something.
I think that's more of what they're going for. I haven't watched any new clips, but the idea is everything's like hand animated, nothing's mocapped, like this giant bird dog thing, like each feather's like individually animated. It's like, wow, that looks really amazing.
Bird dog thing.
I don't know how to describe it.
To that.
Bird dog thing. Forget badass walrus. It's all about bird dog
or
thing.
Monster dog truck thing. Our descriptor for any like just malformed, hideous Resident Evil boss.
Nice. Yep.
How did that started because of the Resident Evil movie, right? When it's like there's this big critter, and they're like on a train, and then it like grows and mutates like into the train or like some crap. Like that's a giant monster dog truck thing.
Yeah, something, or it might have been from like olden days of Resident Evil 2. We played the B game or something, and it like mutates into some hideous abomination. End. I don't know.
It's brilliant.
Either way, I love that term.
Yeah. For sure.
What is it again?
Monster dog truck thing.
That's right.
And Taylor, you've pre-ordered?
I did, yeah. I think I pre-ordered the Sun version. I don't know what the difference is. I just like the cover better. The Moon one looks like this weird bat thing. I don't know. I'll eventually get both because my quest is to collect every 3DS game, which seems to be more daunting as the days go on because they just keep announcing more 3DS games. They're like downporting Wii U games like Yoshi's Woolly World and Super Mario Maker, and before you know it, Splatoon's going to be on there.
It's
probably
coming.
not.
It's coming.
Splat.
And then Splatoon Switch version.
Where it's just Splatoon. Yeah, it's just with a TWO
in
the middle. That's obnoxious, and I love it. Probably because I'm obnoxious.
Yeah. That's a topic for another podcast.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, so Pokemon's coming out. Taylor's excited. Connor's excited.
Yeah,
Nick's not excited.
I don't
Nick
get excited
is
for Pokemon.
as excited for Pokemon as he is for anything else in life, which is marginally.
There you go. I'm excited for Final Fantasy 15.
Are you?
Yeah. That's what I'm getting next. I
I
pre-ordered.
feel like you're feigning excitement just to throw us off.
I pre-ordered the deluxe edition with the soundtrack.
Really?
So, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Did
Well,
you do that?
That
No,
did-
I
that
just got
isn't-
the regular version.
That is in keeping with the way you usually like to do things.
It's always collector's editions.
That's
So,
right.
so real quick, the two games that you've beaten in the series are 7 and Tactics, right?
Yes.
Okay.
That is insane to me.
Yeah.
That you have founded a JRPG podcast and that those are the only 2 Final Fantasies you've beaten.
I mean,
And you still hassle Taylor about all these games.
Okay,
I've
but
only
I haven't started any of the Final Fantasies. You went the Final Fantasy route, and I went the Tales route. I played
Yeah,
all
that's
the
true.
Tales.
Yeah.
That's
and
true.
So that's what
I'm not
happened.
much better. I've played a lot of the Final Fantasies, but I've only beaten 7, 8, and Tactics. Although I'm looking
Okay,
to
now I'm mad at you again.
Although, you know me, I made that list. I'm going to slowly but surely go through it all.
Which we'll get to a little later.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I need an update on your progress on that.
For sure.
I need to keep a close eye on you.
I don't know which Final Fantasy to start. I mean, I'm gonna play Final Fantasy 15. That's definitely a thing. I'm talking about the classics. I'm thinking I'm going to start 10.
Yeah, I was going to say 10 might be a good starting point.
Man,
The only thing I don't like is
makes me want to cry.
why.
Nothing. Just continue.
Okay.
I'm not going to piss on your parade.
Yeah, I think of 10, and then maybe try 12 when it comes out on the PS4. But there's so many games coming out.
I know.
Oh my gosh. I got Tales of Berseria, Persona 5.
Gravity Rush 2. I know you're not a Gravity Rush guy, but...
That's yeah. I should try it out, but it's not my JRPG game really.
Sure.
But yeah. Other than that, let's move on to our next thing. Connor's been playing some Final Fantasy speedrun kind of things, some special runs.
Allow me to explain.
Yeah.
I just kind of was thinking, especially after doing the stream the last weekend where we were raising cash for the children's, kind of made me think about this a little bit more. But as the host of a JRPG podcast, I realized I need to undertake some more hardcore challenges as a JRPG player. Because like I'm the guy where like once I beat a game and I get the story, I feel like okay, I've kind of got the gist of that one. But like kind of more so with like my favorite games, I guess I want to complete the real challenges that they have. So like I think I mentioned this before. We're on Final Fantasy VII. Like Taylor, we had talked about this. Like I can't believe that neither of us had beaten Emerald or Ruby Weapon before.
Yeah, like...
Considering we're such fans of the game.
Right.
I always thought you guys did.
Yeah,
that was always in my mind.
it takes more work than like you would think, and like, or not so much now that like playing the game is second nature, but like back in the day when we were playing it a ton, it's like there's much more daunting. There wasn't as much of a wealth of information on like ways to exactly grind to beat them. So, and so the games I'm focusing on are the 3 core PS1 versions, 7, 8, and 9, and so I have them all on my computer. So I beat Emerald and Ruby Weapon and pretty much did every single thing in Final Fantasy VII, like officially. You can
Nice.
check my online profile if you want to talk about it.
Boom.
Couple things I missed, but anyways. And so now I'm doing Final Fantasy IX Excalibur 2 challenge, which for anyone who doesn't know, it's getting to the end of the final dungeon on disc 4 in under 12 hours, which it's a long game, but it can be done, obviously. So that's going to be a really nasty challenge, but I look forward to undertaking it.
So how do you get Excalibur 2? Is there like a chest that doesn't open unless you do it?
From what I understand, I haven't watched footage of someone opening the chest or whatever, but I think I remember an area in the final dungeon Memoria where it's you go and read this plaque and it has some kind of cryptic message on it, and then if you go and check it and your game time is under 12 hours, then some scene takes place or the item spawns.
Nice. Sweet.
Yeah, but
cool.
it's Mr. Futago, actually, shout out to him, listener to the podcast. He told me during the stream that they basically put in that challenge, the developers, just as wow, our fans will really put in any ridiculous challenge you put in the game. So they made it just as crazy as possible, just to kind of see who would do it. And obviously, wackos like me are still doing it to this day.
Yeah,
so.
Here we are.
So yeah, Excalibur 2 is going strong, and then after that, Final Fantasy VIII comes next, and I'm gonna beat Omega Weapon, who's the hardest optional boss in the game. I'm going to try to not use Holy Wars, which is the item that makes you temporarily invincible. It makes the fight easier. Mm-hmm. I'm going to try to see if I can beat him without using those, because that's kind of easy mode.
Is that I remember there was one boss or there's a room where you get an Esper, and literally every step you take is a new random battle, and you just have to inch your way.
That part's easy mode. Okay. That's a short part.
Okay,
that's the very beginning of the optional side dungeon under the Deep Sea Research Lab.
Yeah, and
at the bottom of that is where you get Eden. And
that's what it is.
That's where you fight Ultima Weapon, but Ultima Weapon is the little brother of Omega Weapon. Ultima Weapon is a total wimp in comparison.
Okay.
Omega Weapon is the Emerald or Ruby of 8, basically.
Got it.
So once I've done all 3 of those, then I'll move on to my next big challenge. I'm yet to decide what that is. Maybe collect every single character in Radiata Stories.
Wow.
Because there's a lot in that game. It takes, I think, 2 playthroughs, but either way.
Cool.
I want to get 100% on tactics. Original tactics.
What does that consist of? Because I feel we've done that. We've definitely gotten all the secret characters. You've gone to the deep dungeon and stolen all the Genji armor and stuff like that. What exactly is 100%ing tactics?
I feel the hardest thing to do in classic tactics is steal all the Genji armor from Elmendor. I feel that's harder than doing all the deep dungeon and getting Zodiac.
Well, it's almost random chance, because you can't just be all right, well, let me power through this and level my guy up. It's just you have maybe a lot of luck. Is there a way to level up a luck stat or something?
We need.
I don't know. I'm sure. I remember a bunch of techniques that raise your steal rates, but I'm not going to go into the nitty gritty right now.
Sure.
I think it would still be fun though, because I haven't played tactics in a while.
Yeah, for sure. Getting the Master Javelin and Master Escutcheon from the Noveska Temple fight is really hard too, but that's you can get lucky on that pretty easily.
Also get the secret summon. Which one is it again?
Zodiac.
Yeah, Zodiac.
Yeah, Final Fantasy Tactics is being a top 5 all-time game in most of our books. There's not really that many parts of that game that are extremely challenging. That's why I really appreciate War of the Lions and the cooperative challenges they added, because those are impossibly hard. And it's that's real challenges for the most hardcore. Maybe me and Casey should do that. That would be a great challenge to undertake.
Each team has to have 2 death knights. Pretty much.
Because there's a battle where I can't remember exactly, but you literally have to face every single bad guy in one battle.
What?
And you both get 3 characters.
That's insane.
Or it's I can't remember the exact parameters, but it's something crazy like that.
Wow, I didn't even know a battle like that existed. That actually sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, we'll link up our PSPs with War of the Lion sometime. I'll show you. It's awesome. And plus, all the loot you get is totally unique to the cooperative and versus modes. It's. Anyways, that's a bit of a ramble, but I guess why you brought up the FF thing is just that I'm trying to challenge myself more as someone who considers himself a guru in training.
Here's one thing you need to do in tactics. We got to beat the 12 monk Earthcloth on Doug Hill.
That fight, I've won that fight before.
Really?
Yeah, it's not that impossible. If you're strong enough and you have Dark Knights, the mass monk fight is not difficult. You can slaughter them.
Yeah, if you're prepared for it. I think the problem is that you're never prepared for it because you never know when it's going to happen. You're
Exactly.
Like, oh, well, I'm screwed.
Like, there's been times where like I had just geared up like my 4 Dark Knights and Ramses, like whatever his master occupation is from me on my file. And we're like going down to Deep Dungeon and running into that fight, and I'm like, oh, and I just butcher them all. I think I've fought harder fights at Barias Hill, where I forget what the name is in War of the Lions, but there's like 8 Hydras and like 4 Behemoths and like 4 Dragons or something.
Jeez.
I think there's like a fight like that where it's just mass like endgame beasts, and that one was really tough. But I think I've won that fight too.
And you can't run away from the fights. You got to get through it.
Yeah, you have to beat
That's
him.
what's great about tactics. You can't puss out of any fight.
Yep, pretty much.
I just remember playing on the PS1, and we're just playing, and then we ran into that battle, and we got our butts kicked.
Yeah.
And we're just like, how are you supposed to beat that?
Yeah, it's demoralizing. But anyways, kind of that I just beat FF7, and Taylor just beat a game of his own that I wanted to hear about.
Yeah, so I just beat Fire Emblem Fates not too long ago. It was the Hoshido route, or the Birthright. Yeah, whatever it's called. And this was a game I was like 4 battles from beating it. I think I tried it a couple times and I kept dying, and I'm like, whatever, I'll do this later. And then I finally came back to it and just beat it first try. It's funny how that happens,
works, right?
Yeah.
Well, how did I fail at this?
Well, I think it's kind of like when you fail once, then you're like the first time you try is usually when you're the most natural, the most loose, and then the second time you do, you're a little better, and then maybe like the third time it's kind of like, okay, now that's like your best attempt, and then after that, if you fail like the third time, I feel like the quality of your attempts degrades after that, and it's like you kind of have to step away. Like that 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th try, like you start to sabotage yourself by overthinking.
Yeah, no, I think that's definitely true. Well, one thing I never really did, but the game I think is sort of built for this, is there's a mechanic where if you walk onto the same square as another character, you like team up. And normally how Fire Emblem works is if you're in adjacent squares, you team up and you like share stats and you get extra dodge and stuff like that. But to me, it always seemed like a waste of a character to like pair people up. But they would just get one-shotted on their own anyway, so I figured, I might as well start pairing them up, and it worked like way better. Mm-hmm. I had less guys, but they were better off for it. And so that ended up working really well, and just powered through it and beat it. And man, that's a great series. I think I like the characters in Fates better, but the battles in Awakening are better. I don't know why that is, but but yeah, no, it's a great game, great series on 3DS. I'm so glad that they kind of revitalized it, and strategy RPGs, we were just talking about tactics. Strategy RPGs are kind of alive and well, at least on 3DS. So
there was a time where it was kind of a lost art, so it's really good to see.
Yeah, it was like after Tactics Ogre came out, there was just like none, really. I mean, I don't know about Fire Emblem never really sold super great until
Disgaea.
Yeah, and in the PS, I was going to say the PS2 era was a little dark for me, just because it took me a little time for Disgaea to like grow on me. Mm-hmm. But it did eventually, so I kind of retroactively the PS2 era was good for it. But
I always put this guy in its own box because it's so wacky. Like you like pile on top of characters and you like throw things. It's so weird. It's not like a traditional just like, okay, let's do strategy here. Let's not like do a gajillion damage.
Yeah, because like strategy RPGs generally, it's like there's like a hard framework for how things work, and like so it's like you understand usually what's going to be like the first and second like repercussions of whatever moves you make. But in Disgaea, I feel like it's kind of more like the Wild West, where like crazy shit just happens all the time.
Totally. But yeah, no, so we talked about previously a couple weeks back how I started this backlog list. So Fire Emblem Fates is the first one. I'm glad to say I can cross off that list. So maybe not anytime soon, but hopefully after Final Fantasy 15, I'll get back to that list and start knocking some more out.
Definitely. So you just beat that, and I just crushed FF7. And Nick has been on Rune Factory 4 and Legend of Legaia for a while, but he'll be knocking out Legend of Legaia soon. But
I had to knock it out before Final Fantasy 15.
Exactly, but that's more than doable.
Yeah.
Although there's this one boss fight I'm really waiting for you to get to in Legend of Legaia. Mm-hmm. Oh man, it is gonna rock your socks the first time you try it. I can't wait.
I'm scared now.
All I'll say is the guy's name starts with an X. So you'll definitely remember now that I've told you that.
Prepare. Zion?
Nope. Wrong. But anyways, enjoy that. So we wanted to just talk about kind of what's next for us. I mean, obviously, Pokemon is on the horizon, which we'll all be dipping our toe into the waters of, and FF15 very obviously, and Tales of Berseria even. So like, kind of besides that, one of you guys got lined up next?
Well, so we
specifically Taylor, because you have the backlog project,
sure.
Of course.
So yeah, if you watch the stream, we marathon through Mega Man Legends, but that was kind of something where me and Connor were trading off, and I kind of want to like play through that like all on my own, because I played it. I'm like, man, this game was not exactly what I thought. I don't really know what I was expecting in that game, but it was a lot better than I thought. Like the control, I remember we were kind of trying to get used to the controls. They're so weird, like controlling the camera with the shoulder buttons.
That's why you got to play 2, because with 2 they fixed a lot of that stuff, and they remedied a lot of the camera issues as well.
Okay, but honestly, that might be the best looking PS1 game, like style wise. I just was consistently blown away at how cool that game looked.
Like the way that's kind of like cell shading kind of look. It's because it's not like pure cell shading. I can't really describe it, but the way that it's outline free. You know, like nothing is outlined, so everything like blends together in a really organic way. It just looks like everything's painted, and the expressions of the characters were actually like really advanced for like that time of like PS1 like 2D facial animation.
That was again kind of what blew me away, was just like how expressive the characters were, because we also later that night played Resident Evil 2, and their mouths don't even move. There's no expression on their faces. It's just like bad voice acting. So to go from Mega Man Legends to Resident Evil 2, it's like, wow, like even though it's sort of like stylized cartoony, like they were able to do a lot with that. And so I'm excited now that I know what to do. Connor kind of showed me the ropes, and like, okay, here are the weapons you need to buy. Like collecting money is really, really important and stuff like that.
I apologize, by the way, for kind of taking the helm the later stages of the game, just because we were trying to beat it as fast as possible and get to our RE2.
No, that's totally cool.
As a veteran, I was trying to spur us forward.
Yeah, no, that's totally fine. I mean, I was excited to just be there to experience it. It was man, that game's fun.
Well, yeah, you know the R2 lock-on ability that he has? Like, imagine just in Mega Man Legends 2, you can do that while you move around.
Yeah, that'll be
like,
really nice.
Just imagine how that would change everything.
Well, depending on how that game's not long. It's like 7-8 hours. So depending,
we did it in 7.5 about.
Yeah. So depending on how much I like that, I might just hop right into Legends 2. Is that game much longer, or is it about the same length?
It's a bit longer. I'd like to say it's. I bet you could speed run it. Like if you. Like, if it was me and I'd played it before, I bet I could speedrun it in a similar time.
Okay.
But first time through, you're going to be exploring a lot more stuff, so it'll probably be more like 11, 12.
Okay, cool.
Because we didn't do a lot of exploring in our run-through because we were doing speed, but that's one of the most fun parts of Mega Man Legends, is like uncovering all the parts of the map, getting all the weapon pieces. Like, it's really fun.
For sure. So it'll probably be Legends just because it's short, and what I really want to do with this list is just start getting the ball rolling, get some momentum behind it, just knocking a couple games off the list and feeling good about it. So
yeah, some quick beats.
Probably that. Honestly, I might go into this isn't necessarily a JRPG, but I might go into Link to the Past, a Zelda game. I've never played that game before, but everybody's like, "Oh, it's the best Zelda game ever."
It's very similar to Legends, so
it's really good.
Call it a JRPG.
Yeah, sure.
And by the way, like, it's really easy for people to beat that game, like when they've like played it before in the past. But like, if you're playing it for the first time, there's a lot of parts where you're gonna be like, what the hell am I gonna do next? So I'll tell you, just like, don't be afraid to like have a walkthrough to reference when you don't know where to go next, because those, like, I guess I was gonna say those old Zelda games, but all Zelda games, like, it's not always entirely clear what to do next. Like,
yeah.
So I would just say, don't be shy.
Sure.
About
well,
that.
and by now I'm sure there's a million really great guides out there, so that'll be nice to do. And the reason I want to do that is because the only Zelda game I've ever beat is Link Between Worlds, which is sort of a spiritual successor / sequel to A Link to the Past. It's in the same world. The gameplay kind of top down is similar, and I really like that. I don't really like the 3D Zelda games, which is kind of an unpopular opinion, but yeah, I'll be.
Well, the 2D look of the original game that you're going to play is really awesome. It handles great. Like, it really holds up well.
That's what I've heard. Yeah, considering how old it is, it holds up. So
yeah, and you guys remember my rant many moons ago about guide shaming?
Right.
I'm against it. I'm here to put a stop to it. So
embrace the guides.
That's right.
There's no reason why not to use a guide.
Well, I mean, if you just want to be like a hardcore, like Rambo-ass motherfucker playing RPGs, then that's cool. But like, I just want to experience the story. I want to loot the treasure chests. I want to beat the bad guys. You know.
Yep.
And like for most of the boss fights, unless I like get killed 5 times in a row, I'm gonna figure out how to beat them on my own.
Yeah. Like,
it's great to have as a crutch. Generally, just for like objective related things. You're like, oh shit, where do I go next? Because if you're playing retro RPGs, that's gonna happen to you multiple times.
Especially if you take a break in between.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
exactly.
the worst. Yeah.
If you save, go do something else for 2 days, you log in, you're like, oh, I'm in this. Okay, I talked to this guy. No, you know, it's like, man, nothing worse.
One thing I will, give us a little applause to is Tales was always really good about letting you know what to do next, because there was always like a journal in the menu. It's like, oh, you and your party just did this, and
I absolutely love that feature in games.
In the newer Tales.
Well, it started in what, Abyss maybe, or like one of the PS2 ones? Because I can specifically remember at least in Abyss it had it. I don't know about Destiny.
It's such an underrated feature in my book. I love that so much.
That, yeah, I love that because it helps when you take that week break or 2 week break and you're like, okay, where was I? And you can read like the journal or what's been going on. You're like, oh, I remember now.
Or like the later Pokemon games, like when you load your file, you'd be like, you were going to blah blah blah. And then you talk to so and so, and then you blah blah blah, and then your file loads up, and it's like it gives you like a last week on Dragon Ball Z.
Right,
you know, it's like kind of. I really like that stuff because it's like we're not just encyclopedias of knowledge for this specific game. I hate when games like assume that when you're playing it, you're just pouring 100% of yourself into it. You know,
right.
It's like that's not how games always work.
You gotta read this encyclopedia that's in the game to get what's going on in the game.
Yeah, right.
That's the worst.
Yeah, I definitely appreciate getting thrown a little bone now and then.
But that's it, Taylor?
Yeah, I mean, between those 4 games, it's going to like consume my life for the rest of the year pretty much. I feel like depending on how good Final Fantasy 15 is, I might really, get crazy with that and, get all the secrets. I don't know what the secrets are. I don't know what there is to find, but
let's just hope there are secrets.
Right. That's my hope, is that there's secret summons, secret boss fights, like... I mean, that's kind of a core tenet of Final Fantasy. I mean, Connor was just talking about all these like super hardcore bosses and like secret like optional fights and stuff. I'm hoping 15 has a lot of that stuff.
Definitely. I mean, they should know better than anybody that it's not a Final Fantasy unless like it has that.
Yeah.
And like one of the things that puts FF9 in like the upper echelon of Final Fantasy rankings for me. Heavy FF podcast, by the way. I guess that's par for the course.
Yeah.
But my favorite thing about FF9, one of mine, is that like the Chocograph like side quest at the very end of the game. It's like one of the best freaking side quests in any game. It's just the best. It's like once you start it, you will play the game until you're done with it. Like you have to get to the next one. It's so great. It's always the side quests that have that awesome magnetism too. Maybe it's just the buildup of like you're getting through the whole game just so you could get to the OP optional like end content.
Exactly.
So it's like kind of really hyped up by the end. It's like when you first go into like what's a great like secret dungeon, like the Distortion Corridor and Radiata Stories. You're like, oh man, there's like this sense of like gravity to it. You're like, this is because it's like this is even harder than the actual end of the game. Like this is the real end of the game.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. Totally.
That's one of my pet peeves, or not my pet peeves, my disappointments in Tales of Hysteria, is that once you beat the game, there's like one final dungeon or one extra dungeon with like 2 cameos, and that's it. And I was like typical Tales games have like a huge final dungeon and then all these secret things you could do, like finding Phoenix or the Blue Dragon disc and stuff like that. But Hysteria just did not have that, and I was like, oh, because I remember looking at the guide, because I bought the guide because I was super excited. It had like 2 pages of secrets. I'm like, really? That's it?
I hate when franchises make a departure from like what they usually do too, especially when it's like so successful.
Exactly.
Like, you just pray that your favorite games don't do that.
If
Final 15, for example.
If a Tales game does not have an arena, it's not good. It's not going to have any extra stuff. That's what I've noticed.
Dude, the arena in the original Tales of Destiny is pretty awesome.
Yeah. The secret in the Tales of Destiny remake, one of the secrets is you could actually fight your sister, Stan's sister,
what?
and she'll join, and you'll join her party.
I didn't know you had a sister.
Because she's in the original.
Yeah, she's just like in your hometown. She's kind of a small character.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but she's in the original one, but the only way to get it was through Game Shark. So they actually made it possible without cheating.
That's pretty funny.
Game.
Freaking Game Shark. I was looking up some FF9 info for my Excalibur 2 run, and one of the little blurbs on the side was Game Shark codes, and I was like, man, that is so retro.
I know, that's not really a thing anymore, because you
I
can't
had
like
a Game Shark back in the day, and I couldn't even figure out how the hell to use it. The only thing that I could get, I mean, I was like kind of young at the time, and I know there's like some crazy stuff you have to do to get some of it to work, but the best thing I could do with my Game Shark was just get like the free like ammo and like infinite health on Grand Theft Auto, and that was about it.
There is something called Action Replay for DS and 3DS games. Very Game Genie-ish, but
okay.
That it doesn't work that well because games don't have cheat codes and stuff anymore, which is sad.
Well, it's kind of an antiquated thing.
Yeah, it is. But Connor, what about you? What's on your docket?
Well, I kind of have single-minded purpose right now with my trifecta completionist undertaking that I talked about before. So right now, it's just I'm going to be powering, barreling, just slicing my way to the end of FF9. And then I think by that time, probably FF15 and Pokemon will be coming out, so I'll probably have to contend with those monsters. And sometime after that, I guess I got to do 8 and kill Omega Weapon with no Holy Wars. So those are kind of my challenges for now, but that it's subject to change. But for now, I have some mountains to climb, so it'll take me some time.
You brought up Radiata stories a little bit back. I'm excited to hear about that because I know you said like literally every character in the town is recruitable, more or less.
Basically,
yeah. I mean that sounds all like Chrono Cross or Suikoden or whatever, where you
very Suikoden like.
Nice, yeah. If you ever decide to take on that challenge, I'd be really curious to hear the outcome of that.
Yeah, the thing is, I think me and Casey actually did complete that challenge. I think we got everybody, except for maybe one or two, but we got by far the hardest characters. Like this one, because there's the 4 guilds in Radiata, and there's a guild master in each of the guilds, and you get each of the guild masters by getting every single person in that guild recruited. And so each of the 4 guild masters is hard to get. And once you get all 4 guild masters recruited, then you can get this guy Nyx, who's like the secret, king shit. And so me and Casey have a file with Nyx on our team, and so I just think we lost that memory card. That's the problem.
Oh, bummer.
But me and Casey actually, we're going to be rekindling our max Final Fantasy Tactics files for PSP, and we're going to try to do some of those insane co-op battles.
Cool.
So,
yeah, that should be awesome.
Yeah, if we really start to get into some epic showdowns, we might have to record that and show it, because the co-op battles, me and Casey versus just
they're insane, yeah,
crazy, and plus just some of the verses we have, just straight up 5-on-5, is so fun. I love that they added that.
I remember when I think we tried it, and I was like, "Yeah, I love my party. It's great. It's like super unbeatable." And you come in and like destroy me. And I'm like,
yeah, I'm pretty sure I killed your 5 characters in 5 turns.
Exactly. It was just like dead. It's like, oh well, I got a long way to go.
Sorry, man. That's just my home court, man.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy Tactics. That's second nature.
I want it. Gotta play
that file is so uber too. Like I have like 2 of every single weapon. Everyone's 99. Everyone's mastered everything. Just disgusting.
I might start a new file on my PlayStation TV so I could record it.
Yes, yes.
So that's it. I mean, this is for the Lord of the Lions, because I could record the regular version.
Would you be able to link up with us still?
Maybe.
Because if we could record our linked up sessions where we do co-op and versus, that would be massive.
If you played on a Vita,
we'll figure this out later. Yeah. This isn't the time for technical inquiry.
But would that be next on your docket, either Tactics or 10? You were saying?
No, that's my next. Like, Tactics will probably be like a side project.
He's got to finish what he's doing right now.
I'm definitely beating Legaia,
okay.
So that's going to be done before.
I'm proud of you, boy. I was disappointed when you said you were taking a break, but I'm glad you're back on.
Things got in the way, so now it's gone, it's done. I could take it on again.
Boom.
And then I'm playing Rune Factory 4 just as a side thing. I'm not really like getting really into it. I play like a day. You know how fast those days are. They're not really. It's just,
well, that's just like the brain teaser.
Yeah,
just kind of gives you something to do.
Just playing around. I'm like, I like this game. I love the feel because everything's so happy and it makes you feel good. After Legaia, I was gonna play either Xillia 2, or because that's a PS3 game. Because I'm like, first I beat a PS2 game, and now I'm beating a PS1 game, and now I got to play a PS3 game. So it's either Xillia 2 or I'm going to go to Radiata Stories.
You know what you should do? Here's my suggestion. Have you ever beat Ni no Kuni?
I have not beaten Ni no
I
Kuni.
would say maybe do that instead.
I like the idea of us like picking each other's like immediate next backlogs.
Yeah, just
like where me and Nick would have to get together and like give Taylor like 5 games and he can arrange them in any order he wants and vice versa for the others. That would be fun to do sometime.
Yeah, totally.
I already know mine.
Yeah,
and I already know what the Telltale.
You don't even need to say
that's the thing is that we would have to come to consensus.
Exactly.
You and I.
No, it's not what you expect.
Oh, okay.
It's not that.
All right.
Maybe that's a good idea. Maybe we should do that.
In a post Final Fantasy 15 world, we'll have to
Precisely.
reconvene on this topic because that's going to consume
next
our
year.
life. Well, I don't know because it depends on how long it takes for us. Because I'm definitely going to take my time with 15. I'm not going to rush through this by any means. We've been waiting way too long.
Yeah,
good 10 years plus.
Let's hope it doesn't have the Duke Nukem Forever effect.
Yeah, unless it's utter dog shit and we stop playing it after 5 hours.
It'll be fine. It's going to be good. Believe me. It'll be great.
Hey, keep your expectations real low and you'll never be disappointed, eh?
I guess so.
That's what I do. High five.
I don't know why I went.
Yay for low
I
expectations.
don't know why I went mobster there, but I did, I guess.
But yeah, so Radiata Stories.
That's a great pick.
That's what I want, because you've always raved about that game, and I have it, and it's been staring at me.
Well, like if you like the Mega Man Legends art, like Radiata Stories is the equivalent of that on PS2, except with a soundtrack to match to.
I've played a little bit of Radio Stories. I just never finished it. I remember because this was like when you first bought it back in the day, and then I bought it. I'm like, oh, this is a cool game. I wanted. That's a game I want to either add to my list if it's not on there or get to at some point because it's. I know you rave about it.
Well, you know what's funny is that I actually never bought Radiata Stories.
Oh,
or
really?
At least originally, it's actually a funny story how I started to play it. So, me and my buddy Thomas, you know him.
Yeah.
We were going on, like I was going on vacation with my family. We were like younger, we're like sophomores in high school or something.
Mm-hmm.
Your mom's like, you can bring a friend. So I bring Tom along. We bring the PS2 and he brings his PS2 that is. And we get to the place, the hotel room or whatever. And we busted out and we forgot the pack full of games. Like forgot all our games. So all we have is whatever's just in the PS2.
Oh no.
And so we open it up and it's Radiata Stories, and neither of us have any idea what the hell it is because Tom's brother was playing it.
Oh, wow.
Because Tom's brother had bought Radiata Stories. And so we were just like, I guess this is what we're stuck with. And the first day it was raining as hell. And we're like, it's like a beach kind of area.
Yeah.
And so we're indoors all day and we got super far and we're like, this was like the happiest accident that could ever happen.
What a great story! Right? Like what a weird little like
we were so pissed too. Like when we realized we forgot the games because we realized the weather forecast was like going to be shit for a couple days.
Yeah.
We're like, how could we forget the games? And little did we know.
Well, because like I don't think any of us would have ever picked that up unless we were like really strapped for like, okay, we beat every Square Enix game. Let's really find some gem. But
well, it's like Tri-Ace or whatever. Square Enix was part of it, right?
They published it, but I think Tri-Ace actually was the ones that made it. Yeah,
I'm bad with that stuff.
But Connor's like the king of like hidden JRPG gems. He, Legend of Legaia and Radiata Stories, and he's probably got a couple other up his sleeve.
I could throw out a couple more, but I don't know. Maybe I'll make that a feature.
There you go.
No, I've already revealed most of my hidden gems on the podcast already. So
that's the thing we got to do. We got to find our hidden gems and give them to like each other. So like I have Shadow.
Well, that's kind of like what we were talking about before, where we would decide.
Yeah, it's like I have Shadow Hearts. I'll give it to Connor. You play Shadow Hearts.
That's fair. Yeah,
and I'll play Radiata Stories. And
do a book club style.
Exactly. That'd be cool. I think it'd be fun. But yeah, so Radiata Stories, Xillia 2. I can't. You say it's bad. I see a bunch of people say it's fun. I just don't know what to expect with Xillia 2.
The combat is the best Tales combat in my opinion. So the combat's going to be great. The characters are good, but the part that always annoyed me is like the artificial padding of the game where it's like, oh, you need to do some side jobs before you can keep going or whatever, and it just made me mad.
Just like really flagrant.
Yeah, it was like clear padding.
I might actually just redo Xillia because I played through Xillia, beat it, but I rushed through it. And I didn't really like pay attention, so I have no idea what happened in that game. I know something happened with Mila, and then like something big happened with like time or something like that, and I don't remember that.
Let me tell you, it doesn't matter in Xillia 2 because they're not the main characters. Unless you really are super hardcore, like it doesn't really matter.
I might go Jude's route though, because I didn't do Jude's route.
Oh, okay.
So I'll do that,
there you go.
and then I'll go to Xillia 2. I don't know. Like you should be beating Grace's F.
That's true. That's one on my list for sure.
Oh, also, this isn't like right down the pipe for me, but I also decided that I'm gonna try to beat like Final Fantasy like 1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh wow!
So it's not like in the immediate future, but like that is something I will do
at some point. Okay,
that's gonna be tough.
Yeah, well, I'm here for a good challenge, buddy.
But what version will you be playing?
That's to be determined, my good man.
All right. I think you have the PS1 versions, right?
I want to play whichever versions have been slightly updated so they like handle a little better, but are still the same base game. If I can find one that satisfies that.
I think Square remade 1 through 4 for DS or something.
I know, but I don't like the updated graphics that they did.
Okay.
I think they look stupid.
Okay.
So I want to play with the classic 8-bit.
Okay.
If that means like having to do it straight up old school original style, that's fine. Because I remember like the anthology they put out, like like a decade ago now, or more. It was just like the original game. They didn't do anything to update it at all. And so if that's what I have to work with, then I will. I'll freaking do it.
Cool. So be it.
Oh, we tried that.
I'm excited to try to, take on some beasts and slay them.
Do you remember, Taylor, when you made that video where we're gonna be playing Final Fantasy 1 through 13?
Yeah, and then we like couldn't even get through 1. We're like, wow, this is so archaic.
Yeah,
that was so bad. We could probably do it now.
Yeah,
but back then,
it'd be a gnarly stream if we really got a bunch of backing for it beforehand, like for charity. I mean, is try to get through Mega Man 1 through 8.
Ooh, that'd be fun.
Because I bet I could slam through a couple of those.
Yeah, I know 4 is the one I'm the most familiar with.
Yeah,
and
I think 1 would be the biggest challenge, and then 2 through 8 we could.
Yeah, 1 is by far the hardest. I've only beat that game once.
I've gotten to the end though.
Yeah, it's ridiculously hard.
I remember I got into like a zone where it's be like every Mega Man. I wanted to beat every Mega Man, and then I did the same thing with X. I beat every X, and I was
those X's are much easier.
They are much easier, yeah. But yeah, playing Mega Man was fun.
X's are more fun, but definitely easier.
Yeah, because you have so much more tools.
Yeah.
So many more tools.
It's crazy for how much I like love Mega Man and whatnot. Like in my Mega Man, like within the franchise or like spin-off power rankings, like Mega Man Legends might be first, like even above the X's and the originals.
For me, it's number 1's got to be soccer. I mean, like nothing, nothing tops that.
Yeah, that stands alone atop the mountain of greatness and holiness.
I legit though, like a lot of people hate on that game. That game is actually pretty fun.
Mega Man Soccer is great.
Yeah, it is.
It's a great game.
It's so good.
Now that's a stream we got to do.
I also don't know anybody who can beat me consistently at that game. That's one of those games where I've played it enough where I'm pretty sure I can beat like anybody. Like probably, I mean, me and Casey used to have some epic duels, but I think I would always get the better of them.
Who was on your team? Did you ever have like a set team, or like you always had?
Well, I mean, it's kind of intuitive. Like some guys are faster, have better shooting. Some guys are slower, have better defense. Like I think you just gotta have the bruisers back on defense. Have like the mid-speed, mid-power, mid-defense guys playing midfield. I mean, imagine that.
Yeah.
And have your quick guys up front, and then your goalie dictates the color of your team actually.
Yeah, that's right.
And so I would usually pick Skullman, so my team would be like all black because I'm just so goth like that.
I always just remember like my favorite like forward to have was Gemini Man because his like super kick would like split the ball in half and it would just go around people and like it was
his
like super
frustrating though because sometimes the goalie would just catch it.
Yeah,
and you're just like what the hell is this?
Yeah,
man,
what is this madness?
But yeah, Gemini Man is a great forward because he's like one of the 3 robot masters who has the highest speed. So that's my guy.
So what I get from this is that Mega Man Soccer is amazing, and we need to play it.
No, we 100% need to stream that game. It's decided.
Yep.
So good.
I mean, just don't let me play because then it won't be fun to watch.
Just get destroyed.
We'll have like a little tournament. We'll make brackets.
Yeah. No, we need to have a basketball tournament and make a.
We've talked about doing that for
televised
so
this.
long, and we've never done it. But I think that'd be fun.
That would.
Well,
be really
you
fun.
know that I've done it.
Oh, you okay?
I had a baseball tournament with some of my buddies a couple of years back, and it went well until the police got involved.
Wait, really?
And then we moved locales and finished it up with no hassle. Totally abiding the law, might I add. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Anyways, let's reel this way back.
I digress. Talk about my baseball
That was a great
team.
little tangent, though. I love
Man,
it.
what was our freaking team name?
The shirts.
No, I think we were Chief Squad. But anyways,
So we've been talking about what's on our docket and their backlog, but what's everyone's hope for the 3 games that we're super excited about? FF15, Persona 5, and Tales of Berseria. It's going to be an amazing
let's
early
do
year.
this. Let's do this quickly because we've talked about these many times.
Yeah.
FF15, keep my expectations low, but I expect a graphical feast and a combat system that intrigues me and tickles my mind. Maybe that's too much to ask, but if it's an addictive ability and combat system in any way, I'll be satisfied because I feel like the visuals and everything else are already there. Hopefully the plot is not Shiite. Persona 5, no expectations because I'm not in on the series, which is crazy as a host on this podcast.
Oh, we'll get you into it. You'll be playing P5.
And Tales of Berseria, kind of same story. Taylor, what about you?
For 15, like, I don't know. My expectations are, I'm trying to keep them low, but my hopes are high, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I'm like, well, I kind of know what to expect because I've played a lot of the demos. I've checked out some footage, and I'm like, okay, I know what this is going to look like. I know what
You've made a retrospective.
Yeah, I made a retrospective. I've dug into this game quite a bit. I mean, my hope is that I want it to be like the best Final Fantasy ever. But I'm trying to keep the expectations in check. I'm like, okay, it'll just have some fun combat and some cool exploration.
Yeah.
And
if you let that hope for the best Final Fantasy ever creep into your mind, I'm so sorry for you because my expectations are so far from that. That's impossible.
I know it's going to have cool exploration because I've seen the cities. I know the combat's going to be fun because I've played it. But the story is the biggest question mark for me. I don't know how that whole thing's going to pan out. I don't know if I'm going to like the characters.
If the characters don't work, then it's almost kaput in my book.
Yeah. So that is my biggest question mark. Everything else, I kind of already know they're going to be good just because I've either experienced them or I've seen what it looks like. So that'll be fine. Berseria comes out, I think, next in line. Like that again. I'm kind of down on the series, but I want it to be good. But my expectations are pretty low, especially after Zestiria. But I'm hoping it comes back with a vengeance and
it's got to redeem itself in your eyes.
Yeah, definitely. And the story is it's kind of taking a darker turn. And it's the first solo female protagonist, which is kind of cool because Tales has typically had male protagonists.
Love it.
But. And P5, it's the sequel to my favorite game of all time. So my expectations are really high for that game. Like I expect it to be a 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10 type of game. Like I don't know where the story is going to go, but I hope the character interactions are great. Like it has like insane style. Like so, I just hope it's like this flashy, amazing thing all the way through. And I just hope to get lost for hours and hours, at the batting cages or playing video games with my little cat, or I don't know what will happen, but.
I feel like we know enough about Persona 5 now where we can almost kind of like write in ink that it's going to be that good.
Yeah, especially because it's already out in Japan. And like I've seen some impressions from people I follow on Twitter. They're saying like, oh, yeah, it's pretty good. So
if it was shit, we would know.
Yeah, no, people would be talking about it. And it's the best-selling Persona game, at least in Japan, like by far. So yeah, I mean, they've hit like everything they've done with that game, from the trailers to the reveals to they've just hit all the right notes every step of the way.
Pitch perfect, totally.
Yeah, so I expect greatness from Persona 5.
Word. What about you, Nick?
For Final Fantasy 15, I have no expectations at all. I didn't grow up. Well, it's like I didn't really care for the game. I was like, oh, Taylor really likes it. Connor would really like it.
Did you play the demo?
I have not played any of the demos or anything.
Neither have I.
So I'm wondering how the game feels, how the skill system works, how do you level up and stuff like that. I want to know all the deep down nitty gritty stuff.
I'm pulling a U. I'm waiting on that until I have the game.
Exactly.
I mean, I could tell you right now, but I'll let you guys figure it out.
Exactly. Thank you.
Because it's totally not what you expect. Like, it's totally new and different from anything Final Fantasy
Keep talking.
Before.
Keep talking. See what happens.
Okay. And I'm done.
But yeah, from everyone
sitting over there cracking his knuckles.
Yeah.
Got my piano wire stretched.
From everyone who we've talked to about this game, they've said they've had their worries, but now they're saying it looks pretty good. It looks like it's gonna deliver.
Yeah. Well, Ben's word is very good in my book.
Yeah.
And he had some very complimentary things to say last time we had him on.
So he actually made me want to get the game for real to play with you guys. So I'm like, okay, now I'm gonna pre-order it and buy it and play it with day one.
Thanks, Ben.
Yeah, thank you, Ben.
Would have been lame not having Nick on the train with us.
Well, I'm telling you, like the weekend after that game comes out, our episode is just going to be all FF15. It's going to be just a deep dive.
Exactly, with Ben.
Word.
Oh, that'd be cool to have him back on, yeah.
If he would be gracious enough with his time, obviously.
Yeah.
And then Tales of Berseria, I'm the same way. I have no expectations at all. It's how I am with all my games, pretty much. I'm excited for it because I heard some things. They say that the battle system's really good. They fixed a lot of problems that were with Zestiria. It looks like a typical... it doesn't have the big open corridor feel to it anymore.
Well, Nick, real quick, I'm going to have to put the scumbag Steve hat on you.
Yeah?
Because you just said, I have no expectations, and then you said, I'm excited immediately after.
Well, okay. You know what I mean. Like, I'm not super hyped up. That's what I meant.
I'm just rattling your cage.
Gosh. But yeah, so they don't have the... I know a lot of your problems with it was that the Zestiria worlds were all big and open and didn't look all detailed and everything like that. So I didn't mind that. So I got through... but that's gone, so you guys should be excited.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
There's actually battle rooms now, so the battles don't happen on the map anymore, so no weird camera angles.
That's good.
And the story looks interesting. It's in the same world, so you guys, if you're gonna play, you might want to know what happens in Zestiria.
I'll be fine
because it's a prologue to that.
I'll read the plot summary on Wikipedia.
Yeah, that's what I meant. So if you want to do that,
Watch
you
it
can
on
do that.
YouTube. Yeah, let's see what happens.
I'll just do that for Trails of Cold Steel too.
No, don't do that. Yeah, I gotta play it.
I knew that'd make you apoplectic.
Ugh. It's because it's just
triggering Nick.
Triggered.
I just know that you guys will love the ending of one. Just know it.
Yeah.
It'll be great. But after that, Persona 5, I know what to expect. It looks awesome. The style in that game, just like Taylor said, it just blows my mind at how stylized it is. We've been waiting for this since the PS3. We're like, oh man, Catherine, it looks so awesome. I can't wait to see a Persona game like this. So it just looks more Persona. And
Shouts Catherine.
Yeah, and you threw me off there. It looks good. It looks like a Persona game. It looks like a better Persona game. So I'm excited.
Mm-hmm.
Woo!
And these games are going to take up this is all in just the first 2 months of the game the year.
Yeah,
We're gonna have to find interesting ways to not saturate our coming episodes with just coverage of those games. But I mean, I'm sure, knowing me, my attention will be spread out evenly amongst a few things, so that shouldn't be a problem.
Yeah, it's gonna be JRPGs galore, gentlemen.
Yeah,
It's going to be so good. And then we'll go with our backlog project.
well, this is like a watershed moment for like RPGs that's about to happen. It could be like a kind of awakening back into the mainstream.
I know, I love it. Like, especially in the West, because like they're going boom, 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 like the big three, like Final Fantasy, Tales, Persona.
Well, maybe we should talk about that next week. If
Ba-boom.
this could be the formation of another big swell. But until then, that just about covers all our topics, right, Nick?
Yeah, it does.
All right, awesome. Well, let us sign out here. Where can you find us online, Nick?
You can find us at on Facebook, this Last Honest Gamers. Just search Last Honest Gamers on Facebook, and we'll be there. On Twitter, we're at LHG Channel. If you want to email us questions or just want to, talk to us, you can email us at AskGiantSword.
Or also, of course, a review is very welcome. Positive or constructive criticism or deconstructive criticism, we can handle it all.
Exactly. AskGiantSword@gmail.com. I forgot to finish that. That's pretty much it.
All right, then let me give a sign off line.
Okay,
here.
let's do it. Let's do it.
In the words of Barrett Wallace from Final Fantasy VII, there ain't no getting off of this train we on.